Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the darkest corners of Reddit to bring you the top horror stories that will send shivers down your spine. These tales, plucked from the depths of human fear, are not for the faint of heart. They speak of encounters with the unexplainable, the things that go bump in the night, the shadows that linger just beyond the reach of your flashlight. Are you ready to face the unknown? To confront the chilling reality that sometimes, the most terrifying monsters are not figments of our imagination, but flesh and blood creatures that walk among us. Then turn off the lights, grab your blankets, and prepare yourself. Because tonight, we delve into the abyss, and the abyss stares back. Imagine, if you will, a man. He's standing under a flickering streetlight, his features obscured by the dancing shadows. But one detail pierces through the darkness, a wide, unnerving grin stretched across his face. This, my friends, is the story of the Smiling Man. Our story begins with a young Redditor, walking home alone, late one night. The streets are deserted, the silence broken only by the rhythmic click of his own footsteps. That's when he sees him. The man under the streetlight, his smile a grotesque parody of joy. He tries to ignore him to quicken his pace, but the feeling of dread only intensifies. He can feel the man's eyes on him burning into his back like hot coals. Then, the impossible happens. The man is suddenly closer, his smile wider, his eyes gleaming with an unnatural intensity. The Redditor breaks into a run, his heart pounding in his chest, the sound of his own ragged breathing echoing in his ears. He glances over his shoulder and sees the man still there, still smiling, his pace matching the Redditor's stride for stride. He doesn't seem to be running, not really. It's more like he's gliding, floating effortlessly, his smile never faltering. A haunting melody can be beautiful, comforting even. But what if that melody was twisted, distorted, transformed into a harbinger of fear? That's the terrifying reality for one family tormented by the Whistler. It started subtly, a single high-pitched note carried on the wind. The family, living in an old farmhouse miles from the nearest town, dismissed it at first, but the whistling persisted, growing louder, closer, more insistent with each passing day. It seemed to seep into the very fabric of their lives, a constant, unsettling presence. Fear turned to terror, as the whistling began to take on a more sinister tone. It seemed to emanate from the walls, from the shadows, from the very air they breathed. Objects began to move mysteriously. Doors creaked open and slammed shut with no explanation. The family, once happy and full of life, found themselves living in a perpetual state of fear, haunted by the insidious melody of the Whistler. We've all seen it, that fleeting movement in the corner of our eye, that flicker of darkness that vanishes as quickly as it appears. But what if it didn't vanish? What if it remained, watching, waiting? This is the unsettling tale of the shadow in the corner. Our story comes from a young woman, home alone one evening, the silence of her apartment broken only by the soft glow of the television. As she's watching, she notices it, a dark, undefined shape lurking in the corner of the room. She tries to ignore it at first, telling herself it's just a trick of the light, a figment of her imagination. But the shape remains, its edges shifting, pulsating with a darkness that seems to devour the light around it. Panic sets in as she realizes the shadow is growing larger, its form becoming more defined, more menacing. It seems to writhe and contort, its movements growing more agitated, more desperate. Fear claws at her throat as she understands. The shadow isn't just there, it's aware, it's watching her. The open road holds a certain allure, a promise of adventure, of the unknown. But sometimes the unknown can be a terrifying place. This is the story of the vanishing hitchhiker, a tale as old as the highways themselves. A lone driver, cruising down a desolate stretch of highway late at night. Rain lashes against the windshield, blurring the lines between reality and nightmare. Suddenly a figure appears in the headlights, a young woman, drenched to the bone, her thumb outstretched in a desperate plea for help. The driver, his heart filled with compassion, pulls over. The woman gets in, her clothes dripping, her face pale and drawn. She thanks the driver, her voice a barely audible whisper. She gives him directions to a nearby town, but something feels off. Her eyes are filled with a strange sadness, a haunting emptiness. The driver tries to make small talk, but the woman only offers short, cryptic responses. Then, as quickly as she appeared, she vanishes. The driver, his blood turning to ice, frantically searches the car, the side of the road, but she's gone, vanished without a trace. Dolls, those innocent playthings of childhood. But what happens when the line between plaything and something more sinister blurs? This is the chilling tale of the haunted doll, a story that reminds us that sometimes the most terrifying monsters come in the smallest packages. It started innocently enough. A young boy, playing in his grandmother's attic, stumbles upon a dusty old trunk. Inside, nestled amongst moth-eaten clothes and faded photographs, he finds her, a beautiful porcelain doll, her eyes sparkling with an unnatural life. He begs his grandmother to let him keep it, and she reluctantly agrees. But soon, strange things begin to happen. Whispers seem to emanate from the doll's lifeless eyes, whispers filled with malice and dread. The boy wakes up in the middle of the night to find the doll sitting at the foot of his bed, her gaze fixed on him with an intensity that sends chills down his spine. The doll begins to move on its own, her tiny porcelain hands reaching out, grasping at the air. The boy, his innocent plaything now a source of unspeakable terror, knows he must get rid of the doll. But the doll, it seems, has other plans. The shadows have been explored, the tales have been told, and the nightmares, I'm afraid, have only just begun. These stories, plucked from the darkest corners of Reddit, serve as a chilling reminder that sometimes the most terrifying monsters are not the ones that lurk in the shadows, but the ones that hide in plain sight. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more spine-chilling content. Sweet dreams, or should I say, sleep tight.